5 top things that you should never include in your CV. This is Victoria from SiteKant, and today we're going to talk about the 5 top things that you should never include in your CV. As we can see, many of the recruiters, they're focusing on the information that you should always have in your CV. However, not much attention is actually being paid to the mistakes that we are tempted to make in our CVs, and this can actually be a major turnoff for any hiring manager. The first and one of the most common mistakes is grammar and spelling mistakes. Why is this so important? First, if you have, for example, too many missing words or poor grammar or incorrect tense, this will definitely turn your application to be unprofessional, and you will sound like not a detailed-oriented person. If you're willing for your CV to stand out, definitely you should make sure that you put the correct sentences in the right wording. Why? Because if your hiring manager will see these mistakes in your CV, probably you might make this mistake in your everyday communication with the supervisors, mentors, clients, and even co-workers. So in order to avoid these things, make sure that you always review your CV either once, not even once, actually 2 or 3 times to evaluate all of the content. If you're not sure about that, you can just use many of the online tools to check your grammar and your spelling. Me personally, I use Grammarly and Spellcheck, so you can use these tools, for example. And of course, before submitting your job application, make sure that your CV has the perfect wording and grammar. Second and very common mistake, which I'm seeing in so many CVs, is adding 2 general characteristics about your personality. What do I mean by this? For example, adding sentences such as I'm a hardworking, open-minded, flexible person. Yes, this is great. This is great, and this is one of the very socially desirable characteristics to have in an employee. However, leave this information for the interview process. Many of the recruiters and the hiring team, they already have tools in order to assess your personality during the interview stages. However, this information is too much cliche. And you would like to stand out during the application process. In order to stand out, make sure not to be a cliche and to speak more about your skills instead of your personality. How to avoid this? First, don't include these adjectives describing your personality in your CV. And if you want to show that you're a team player, make sure that you provide an example where you showed your team working skills. For example, you worked on a certain project of 10 people and you showed that you're a great team player. You can just include real examples of real achievements and work on the project and make sure that they talk about your specific skills and not about your personality. The third, and also maybe not very common, but I'm seeing it in my experience in many of the CVs, is adding information about your personal situation. What do I mean by the personal situation? For example, you can see in many CVs like a person stating that I'm married, I have 4 kids, single, in a relationship, my hobbies are hiking and swimming, for example, and even including a photo of themselves. There have been large discussions around whether or not the photo should be included in the CV. However, according to many research and also in my personal opinion, I think that the photo is totally irrelevant detail for your CV. Why? First, because it's a distraction from your overall CV and from your skills, and it's distracting the recruiter to actually focus on your knowledge and your skills from your CV. And second, the employers might be accused of possible discrimination based on the personal looks. So your personal looks do not speak about your skills. How to avoid this? Make sure that you focus on the relevant details in your CV, such as your achievements, success, skills, and please stay away from any personal information like hobbies or if your relationship status. So this is totally not something that should be in your CV. Fourth and very common mistake which I'm seeing among people with more than 10 years of experience is exaggerating their work experiences by adding all of their job positions from the beginning of their career. I understand that it can be tempting to show off during your CV and that you want to express yourself and show that you have all the possible work experiences. However, this is not going to be useful for the hiring manager. Why? Because these job positions, if they're not relevant for the job that you're actually applying to, this will be just a turn off for the recruiter. For example, if you're applying for a job as HR specialist and you have worked as an accountant like 10 years ago, yes, this is a great job, and I'm not underestimating the job positions. However, this is not going to bring you any extra points for the job that you're currently applying to. Of course, maybe if you have only 3 job experiences, yes, you can include that, but if you already have jobs like HR generalist or something more related to the job that you're applying to, just you can remove all the irrelevant details from before. Yeah, I can say that the recruiter spent approximately 10 seconds in reviewing your CV. So this means that if I cannot get a clear idea about your professional profile in 10 seconds and in 1 to 2 pages CV, this means that totally this is not a good job. Make sure that in order to avoid this, that you only include the job positions which are relevant to the job that you're currently applying to, and stay away from all the irrelevant work experiences you had before. The fifth and very common but not least important mistake which I'm seeing in many CVs is poor organization, and the CV is just too long. Why is this biggest mistake? Many of the job seekers, they are tempted to show off in order to, let's say, use so many different wording and fonts and styles and colors. So you will see the CV looking like a rainbow. Yeah, it can be really interesting for you, but can be just a distraction for the hiring manager and for the person who is reviewing your CV. Your CV needs to be pretty basic. If you're not sure what kind of format or template to use, there are so many templates that you can find online and they're for free. For example, I can recommend Europass CV. This is at least one of the most applicable ones for the European context. And even if you're not sure about your format, you can give it to someone else, either HR specialist or a friend of yours, to just take a look in your CV and to see if it's easy to follow, if it's just easy to scan, and if the structure is just right. So in order to avoid this, you can either use CV template or just follow the basic and minimal templates. In the description, you will find a link where you can create your Europass CV online. It's very easy. You just have a few steps and your CV will be generated. I'm aware that we are all making these mistakes, or we did it in the past. Even me personally, I was making these mistakes in my CV. I'd like to ask you to comment which one of these 5 mistakes you already made in your CV, or you're trying to work it out. Thank you very much for watching this video. If these topics were useful to you, make sure that you like this video and subscribe.